Um, I'm excited to do this reading, so I don't know how many people we should wait for. I'm gonna say like 15 people. Okay, I have like a couple copies. Like I think I have like 10, but we're gonna be going over the most important ones is the ones that like everyone can experience. So first of all, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia. We also have the genius brain here. Okay. And then we're gonna be going over normal and gray matter. Okay. I'm just gonna show you guys like what I'm talking about and what I mean basically. So I'm gonna wait for like 15 people. But before we get started, I also printed out these pictures. These are like crime scene pictures. I'm gonna do something with them. I have one more. I thought it's in here somewhere. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so you guys know gray matter in the brain, and when we talk about the gray matter and shit, gray. If you think about the color gray is neutral, right? So the more gray matter you have in your mind, or the more gray matter that is attached to your brain, the higher at risk you are for neuropsychiatric disorders, so bipolar, schizophrenia, all those other things, okay? But the more white you have, white is creativity, okay? You're supposed to have like a mixture of ranges, so a balancing of white and gray and all those things. But if you have more than one, so let me show you for instance. This is the bipolar brain. Okay, so we have the normal one, which you see it has like normal pigments of white, and you also see the gray here as well, whereas on the manic side there's more white. I know by my own experience that mania, when I'm in a manic state, I feel like more creative. Okay, hold on. So yeah, white matter is for intellect and creativity. So I know that also when like in the bipolar state, when you are manic, you're more creative. Hence to why when see over here this depressed state, or when you're depressed, it's more dark, okay, whereas gray matter, okay, is a decreasing of energy, okay? So we have the normal brain, which has the whites and the grays, okay, and then you have this brain, which is a mixture of white and gray, okay, and then you have more gray here, which is a decreasing, okay. So this brain right here, when you're depressed, okay, you don't feel any type of creativity or anything of that nature, okay, whereas to if you weren't depressed and you were in a manic state, you will feel the need to create and talk to people and doing all those things. So for instance, in bipolar disorder, they have this thing whereas it's called manic speaking, whereas you speak really fast, you may talk a lot of things of that nature. If you were in a depressed state, you wouldn't do that, right? You wouldn't want to talk to people, you wouldn't want to experience anything of a higher degree, okay? So that's bipolar. Okay, so you can definitely see the differences. Okay, so you see normal. Okay, then you see more gray area, which is like how those symptoms, like whereas you sleep a lot when you're depressed. Okay, you may cry a lot when you're depressed. You don't want to do the same things that you once did when you're depressed. You stop doing certain activities that you love and things of that nature. Okay, so with the manic, you probably will be more intellectually driven and creatively driven, okay? So next we have PTSD. Okay, so this is bipolar, okay? We just explained the bipolar brain, okay? It has more of the white and gray aspects in it depending on which side you are. There's two types of bipolar. We have bipolar 1, we have bipolar 2, okay? Usually bipolar 1s and things of that nature, they become more depressed, whereas the bipolar 2 is like more manic states, okay? So this is the way that your brain would look, okay? We also have PTSD. I noticed with PTSD there was more holes in the brain. Okay, so with the bipolar, there's a color differentiation. There's a color differentiation, meaning like this is of a lighter color, this is of a darker color, and this is a mixture of colors. Whereas with the PTSD brain, this is normal. Okay, so you see again the mixing of colors, so the grays and the whites, and then you have those darker colors, which are like veins and arteries and things of that nature. Okay, so I would ask you guys, what difference do you see? So first of all, you see way more white and gray here. Okay, and then you see there's extensions here on the brain. There's no extensions here. Okay, there's gray and white that's covering up these extensions. You see a smaller portal of gray right here, you don't see here. It's almost as if there's a hole in the brain. So it kind of does make you look at PTSD differently, because you know PTSD also comes with the symptom of memory loss. Of course, if you have a hole in your brain, then that could explain why you would be losing your memory in correlation to PTSD. Okay, so you also see that it also has more connections here, and this one does not. Okay, so this is the PTSD brain. Okay, yeah, you see a lot of connections, whereas like, you know how like people with PTSD, they just have the tendency to snap. My whole overall agenda is to trying to understand what causes a person to snap. And I think that me doing this one, you see these, it's almost as if like, you say for instance, you were plugging up a computer or a laptop, right? And you need to connect like the blue and the green wires together, so on and so on. It's almost a situation where it's like this creates the snapping. There's no connections. Okay, it's just like free space. Okay, there's connections here, receptors here, whereas over here there isn't. Okay, then we have the depressed brain. Now these, the PTSD brain and then the depression brain, are really important because these are the main two diagnostics that people in the world are going through at this time. Okay, so first we're going to show depressed brain. The depressed brain is way more dark. It has some spots of light. So you know when you're experiencing depression, you do not feel like doing the same things that you once did. So maybe you run every day at a certain time, and now you don't feel like doing it at all. You may cry more, you may be more emotional here. Okay, you may be living in the past here. But like I told you guys, that gray matter is a decreasing in intellect and a decreasing in creativity. Okay, so you don't want to think, you don't want to move, you can only, you're stuck in a space. Okay, you also see that these spaces are more enlarged. Okay, you see I'm also getting, you know, when you're depressed, there are certain times, like say especially if you have clinical depression, you'll snap in and on and off of depression. So when you snap on and off, that off period, that's when you start to do those creative things, and then it's kind of like a cycle to whereas like this gray matter consumes it. Okay, whereas you see a good mixture here with the not depressed. Okay, whereas like they have more white, so they have more they have an increase in productivity, intellect, and creativity over here. Okay, so this is more of a creative mind, and this is more of a non-creative mind, I'd say. Okay, so here's another picture. So this is schizophrenic brain. Okay, again, there are some darker spots. Okay, these brains looked enlarged for some reason, but there was more color. Okay, um sorry, I'm trying to make sure I get certain ones. We have the ADHD brain. Have two of those. Okay, so ADHD is like the when someone has like an immense amount of energy. Okay, so you may see, I'm also getting scatterbrainness. So you may see like a lot of scatter. You see how all of these, like the molecules or the gray matter, the white matter, the matter in the brain is scattered. Okay, so that causes a basically, that's how, you know, in ADHD it's harder for them to pay attention. It's because they have more scattered, they're more scattered brain than anything. You kind of see it here, you see like it looks like scattered patterns. Okay, you can even see it in their mind, it's a scattered energy. Okay, so whereas these are like blobs, or these are like particles. This is a scattered energy, okay? You see that? I'm gonna show you. So actually, let's do this one. So the scattering of a brain, okay? Short-term memory loss as well, okay? And then you have the it's completely different, right? Whereas these people, they're not scattered in brain, they're just literally dealing with mood disorders. Bipolar is all about mood, okay? Attention deficit disorder, okay, and ADHD is a scattering of thoughts, okay? This is like the teacher is explaining something to you and you're thinking about something else, okay? Also, with schizophrenia and personality disorders, oh, here's another one. Bring it upside down. There's like a split in the brain, like literally. There's a normal split in the brain, but there's like a visible split in the brain here with schizophrenia. I don't know if this is ADHD or schizophrenia, but you can see it here as well. Like there's a splitting in the brain. Yeah, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. Okay guys, I'm pretty much done. That's it for today. That's just part 1. That was pretty good. Okay, so I'll probably be using these in some more other readings. I'm going to be studying them more and more.